Good afternoon and happy Thursday, everyone. It is Scott Wohlers with River Place Capital. It is Thursday, January the 22nd. I just wanted to talk what Marcus did last week as the reversal from the large cap growth names and the AI related names that have been leading the markets higher for the last several years has continued. And you saw the S&P 500 for the week down 38 basis points or 0.38%, and the mid-cap index was positive 1.33%, and the small caps as measured by the S&P 600 were up the most at 1.7% on the week. And as if you look year to date, before we talk about what happened in the markets and where we see things moving forward, is if you look year to date, you're seeing that catch-up trade continue with the small indexes like the S&P 400 and 600 are both up 6% already year to date. The S&P 500 is up almost a little bit over north of 1%. And while it's still off to a great start, it's just not off to a rip-roaring start, and that's because the market, you're seeing money move from the expensive stocks and expensive money, and is looking to find cheap opportunities in the market, and those are just quick opportunities, and you're seeing the catch-up trades. But as we moved into over the weekend, we learned that it was a very big important issue as Davos is coming up this week and is going on this week, which is the World Economic Forum in Switzerland, and the president over the weekend said that he was going to impose very significant tariffs on European countries if he did not get Greenland, and you saw markets sell off on Tuesday on that news. But yesterday, while speaking after his speech in the morning, he did give an interview and say that there was a framework of a deal. I don't know what that is. I'm not a news reporter, not trying to break that, but you saw the markets recover off of that. And you saw a quick recovery in markets, and again, it was a recovery, and you're seeing the markets moving higher off of these value names, and some of these AI adjacent names are starting to take the lead from the old AI leadership names that you've been seeing, and that's been the theme at Davos is powering, and how are we going to power all of this AI data center. So you saw the macro headlines move the market temporarily, but ultimately what drives markets and what moves markets higher are earnings. And we are just starting and getting Q4 earnings so far. And what we're seeing for the most part is relatively positive in the market, and that's what's going to allow this market to continue to move higher, or will power the market higher. That while macro headlines matter and can have impact on the micro, which is the earnings ultimately based on what policies exist, that oftentimes you see an overreaction in markets based on those macro headlines right off of the bat. And so what we are seeing is a strong economy and strong earnings that are continuing to power the market higher. We expect the continued rotation. We expect there to be volatility in the market because of these macro issues that we are talking about. And remember, it's also a midterm election year, and that tends to be a relatively volatile time in markets. And so leading up to the election, and so just understand that there will be some volatility heading into this year, but everything on the underlying surface looks and remains relatively strong. So look for that continued broadening out of the market as we head in through 2026. We will look into the big tech earnings next week as we start to get all of those, and we really get into the heart of earnings season for Q4 to really understand what the earnings growth rate will look like for the rest of this year for most companies. And that will tell us if the market's fairly valued or if it's overpriced or not based on what we're seeing out of those earnings. So as always, if you have questions about how to navigate this market or ways in which we can help you, feel free to give us a call. We'd love the opportunity to speak to you. You can reach us at 904-346 3460, or as always, check us out online at www.riverplacecapital.com. I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of your week. Thanks so much for watching.